Yeah, and it goes in all different directions. It's very patchy. So
Oh man,
that's why I've never had
looking
a beard.
homeless, Dutch.
Can't hear you, Peter. Sorry about the kids screaming in the hall. Yeah, and it is. It's my beard doesn't grow right. It grows in all different directions. It's very patchy. So
Oh man,
that's why I've never had
looking
a beard.
homeless, Dutch.
Can't hear you, Peter. Sorry about the kids screaming in the hall.
Let's see what we got here. Hello. What the hell's going on? Hello. All right. This is problematic. All right. What is going on here? Okay, I can hear Norm now. Okay, I can hear Norm. Can you hear me, Norm?
Yep, you're good. You're good now.
Thank goodness.
Just no screen. Just no screen share.
Yeah. Coronavirus got my machine.
Too soon, Peter. Too soon.
We're now transmitting to electronics. All right, hold on. I've got a screen. Now, I have to check, guys, on YouTube. All right, hopefully you can get audio. We were just having struggles in the room there, so my apologies. Here we go. Let's get things set.
Yep, you're fine.
Right.
You're fine on YouTube.
Whew. Okay. Well, an inauspicious start to the morning. All right, welcome, guys, to a Friday. We are at the end of week 2 of quarantine. I was actually traveling when the virus broke out, so this is 2 weeks that I have been inside. Apparently, it's affecting my ability to work electronics. I am looking forward to, I don't know, stepping outside or something. I'm not sure what I'll do. as long as I don't see other humans. Ah, all right. Well, once again, we have got a very full list of gappers this morning. A lot of it looks like it's just hanging around the same level of the current drop in the SPY. So a lot of that is just moving with the market as we expect. It's amazing how many stocks are getting pre-market volume though, right? It just shows you the relative volatility in the market with all of these, trading over 100,000 shares when like on a normal day, they wouldn't have that type of volume. So, with that, Nor, maybe you can tell us, is there anything specific happening out there in the world this morning?
Yeah, so just a few minutes ago, we got personal income for February, which was actually up a little bit more than expected at 0.6% versus a 0.4 estimate. Core inflation, consumer spending, roughly in line. Steve Mnuchin's talking, president of the secretary, right now, discussing what they're doing to help stem the tide of the fallout from the virus. So that's been popping the markets a little bit since about 8:20ish, about the last 15 minutes. Got above VWAP on the SPY, down 2% solid. What we're seeing this morning is kind of to be expected. We're starting to see a little bit of the secondary fallout here. I've noticed you'll see a lot of REITs on here and some banks. And, some words come out from these REITs that they're not going to be able to take care of their debts. So some of them have come out and said that. That's causing a little bit of a concern in that sector. Tilray's up because I guess everybody's at home smoking weed. Other than that, that's what we got.
Okay.
You there, Peter?
Yeah, sorry, I was just checking things out. So last night we were watching earnings, and there was two that I just thought I'd take a peek at this morning. Lululemon, which had earnings, and then GameStop. Now Lulu's not on our list because it doesn't usually have a lot of volume, and today it's got very, very low volume, only 11,000 shares so far. I was just getting confused by GameStop because GameStop has an ATR of 55 cents. It's up 8.6%, which surprises me, but I'm not sure why it's not on my list. There's got to be some criteria as to why it's not on my list.
It's because it trades under $5.
Thank you. That's pretty obvious. Okay, that would be exactly why. Thanks, Norm.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Well, with that, why don't we actually look at the stuff that is on the list? And I took a look at this earlier today, and of course now we've got stuff that wasn't there prior that is now coming up here. So I'll start right at the top here with ASTC up 50%, barely trading over $5, which is why it's on the list. Yesterday, though, it was a $3 stock. Normally, I can anticipate. Oh my goodness! Actually, 3 days ago, it was a $1 stock. What the heck is this? I bet you.
This is a 3 million share float ish. They have a test, they say, that can detect lung disease in a breath test. So they had a direct offering that closed, I guess, yesterday. But maybe now you're going to get pulled over in your car and the cop's going to say he wants to see if you're ill instead of just checking for alcohol. I don't know.
The coronavirus breathalyzer. Well,
I don't even. Interesting. So we'll see.
Wow. Okay. Well, certainly I can see that it's got some movement pre-market. The pre-market activity looks good. I said normally, guys, this is a $1 stock that happens to be up around $5. It may very well be in play. It's got some good volume, so I'll set some levels, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, let's take a look at other stuff. Norm was mentioning that we've got a number of these real estate companies on here. I'm noticing there's a few of them. Not stuff I normally pay much attention to. IVR, for instance, is on the list. Normally as a Invesco mortgage capital fund, I would just skip over it. It's up pretty significantly, but let's face it, it's up 20% after having dropped from Like we're $18 to 250, right? So
Yeah.
should I don't, have you had a chance to go through these, Norm? I mean, I've got a bunch of these. I don't know if I want to waste a lot of time on them. Like we've got
Yeah, I mean,
MITT.
you have mitts on there. This isn't stuff I would be trading.
Yeah.
They just generally are. I mean, they just generally don't trade that well as far as my experience. So I haven't spent a lot of time digging into them.
Agreed. What just happened? For some reason, my gappers list just blanked. I don't know why.
I think you paused it or something. You changed the timing on it, maybe.
I don't even know how to do that. Oh, okay, it's back. All right. I got ghosts in the machine here this morning. I don't even know what's going on. All right, well, okay. Let's go to Tilray. It was actually on our list yesterday. I didn't pay much attention to it. I see it's on the list again today. Yesterday, I didn't find a trade in it, but I have to admit I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. I see it's on here again today. You know, our in our pot stock category, Norm, is there any good news on it, or is it just?
I haven't seen anything fresh. I mean, it's moved the last couple of days, but I haven't seen any news on it other than they were talking about it on CNBC 2 days ago. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Okay. Let me check. I can't remember if I took news on it. No, I don't have. I don't have anything. I don't know either. So all right. Well, I'll leave it here. We might set some levels. This one I like. SmileDirectClub. If you remember SmileDirectClub, their chief medical officer was getting his license revoked, I think, in California. That was before all of the pandemic fallout happened. It looks like some sins are being forgiven. I saw this morning they announced, if I'm right, Norm, they were using, I guess because they do 3D printing of some of their dental supplies, I guess they send out to people, so they're redirecting their 3D printing capacity to making face shields.
Yep, that's exactly right. So I guess maybe people think they'll make more money doing that than aligning teeth. I guess they've got a high short float, 47% is what I've got on Trade Ideas for their short float. So it's not unexpected. They IPO'd in the mid 20s last year. It's just been a straight slide down to around $4. So all those shorts that have been piling in there, you pop up a little bit from $4. Not surprising to get a little bit of a squeeze on there.
Right. Well, just looking at the daily chart, I'm not seeing a ton of levels, but I'll leave it on here. We can set a couple. The pre-market doesn't actually look very good either, but we'll see compared to what else we may have. I'll leave it on the list for now. GPMT is the next one that I've got here. Oh, this is another mortgage trust, so I will skip over that. What the heck is NRZ? It sounds like another one. New residential. Look at these. They're all popping up here. These trusts.
It's the same thing.
INO. I'll take a look at that because we've been talking about it in the room. Again, it's not something that I've been trading the last little while because look at the daily, right? Really not a lot of action or activity. I think this is just gapping at the market. Looking at the pre-market, no, it's not giving me much that I have a great interest in paying attention to. UAL seems to be today the lead of our airline stocks, which actually have been good movers. I was watching American Airlines and Delta primarily yesterday, and they both moved fairly well. UAL seems to be the one that's moving this morning, up 2.4%. Yeah, nothing particularly special on that, so I'm just going to take it off. I'm going to skip to the bottom of the list. Let's go from the bottom up here and see what we've got. Carnival. Back on our list. Now, Carnival Cruise Lines, I was watching and did trade several times yesterday, but man, it was choppy. If you go back, I'm just going to go back and look at this chart yesterday. It was doing some really, really nasty movement where it would drop and then it would pop back up. I was actually in this, it was right over here. down to VWAP. I took a good trade that I like with my moving average cross. I got in here at around 1820s. I got a move down to VWAP, and then look at this 1 minute candle. Popped me all the way back from like 50 cents, stopped me out right back to VWAP. Moved back up to that same entry, back to like it was really moving quite erratically. If you see the wicks on some of these candles, it's quite big. I mean, 50-cent move on a $17 stock. It was making it very, very difficult to trade. Today it's down 10.7%, but Norm, I don't expect there to be much news. This is probably just CCL continuing its erratic movement, right?
Well, we discussed this yesterday afternoon in the chat that these companies, and we mentioned it yesterday, and despite having their headquarters maybe in Florida, their taxes and their companies registered out of the country. And shockingly, which I don't understand how it's shocking or anybody thought that they were going to get bailed out, despite pumping trillions of dollars into the economy, our country is not yet so giving as to bail out the entire planet, including cruise ships registered in foreign countries. So it's not surprising. All these are down. RCL's down there, CCL, NCLH. I think it's continuation from yesterday afternoon when it surprisingly came out that they won't be subject to bailout money.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I agree that I don't think it should be surprising that they're not getting bailout money, but I guess seems that the market is somewhat surprised if the drop is to be a gauge of that. All right, moving on.
It's unfortunate, and if people lose their jobs from there because of hardship, it's terrible. But I don't understand how people in the first place thought we would bail out foreign companies. It's nuts to me. But okay.
Yeah, indeed. Now, I know that Bud Anheuser-Busch here is a foreign company. They seem to be down this morning. I saw that they pulled their guidance, but that was the only news I saw on it, Norm. Is that what's driving it?
I haven't looked into it. As you said, it's a foreign company, so I don't trade it. But yeah, they pulled their guidance. That seems to be why there's down.
I mean, that shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, I think every single company is going to pull their guidance, and some are going to only do it when it comes to them announcing their earnings because they'll tie that together. Others may do it ahead of time, but either way, I doubt there's going to be very few companies, anyways, that are not going to pull their guidance. So, anyways, looking up the list on the losers, we have a Royal Caribbean, we have a Norwegian Cruise Line, so not a surprise. We've got some of the oil companies. What have I got on here? JP Morgan is down 4%. I don't know if that's significant at all. And Uber is also down 4%. I'll look at Uber. Now, Thor in the room traded Uber yesterday, and he did a great recap that's posted in our channel where he sort of explained his thought process for picking a stock, as well as the trade that he took. And he got a nice increase, hit his daily goal on that trade as he carefully managed his entry. I see Uber's, it's moving again. It's also gapping. It has been a mover all of this week. Again, Norm, just on either Uber or, what was the other one I said? JP Morgan. I don't know if there's any specific news or this is just regular movement here, but...
I have not seen anything on the banks specifically. It looks like as a sector, they're down. As far as Uber goes... they got an upgrade a few days ago out of Wells Fargo to overweight despite moving their price target down. So that kind of put in the bottom of it here. But, I think it's just primarily on food delivery, and I say this as somebody that owns Uber shares in a longer-term portfolio. I don't it's their least profitable business. And before we got into this whole mess, they were trying to get out of it in certain areas. So, if they're taking large losses on it, the more they deliver, the more they lose. I don't quite understand what's going on here, why it's popped up from $14 to $28. It's doubled in 2 or 3 days. I'll take it, but yeah.
Yeah. I guess I don't know either, but it is moving. It's starting, especially now, to get a little bit more volume and move a little more cleanly pre-market. So it could be a good trade today. JP Morgan, not a lot of pre-market volume, really. I mean, we're just over the 100,000 shares. Nothing particularly to recommend that. So I'm going to take it off my list, which is good. I like to keep a nice short list where I can. Let me just go check a couple of the others that we have on here just to see if they're worth keeping an eye on. I'll start with Macy's. It hasn't actually seen a recovery. I'm not surprised there. It's down again today. Pre-market gives nothing to recommend it. MGM, which we've also talked about pretty much all this week. Pre-market's okay. The volume, 200,000 shares. We've already set some levels on it. I mean, I can keep it here, but I only traded it, I think it was either Monday or Tuesday that I traded this, but not since. So that's that. What else should we look at here? I know that one that I was watching pre-market was Tesla, just because it was on the move. Pre-market is starting to look a little bit better. Tesla, and I've got nothing specific going on Tesla. But it of course is on our gappers list. I'm not surprised by that. What's the last one? The last one that might be worth to take a look at from my perspective would be Boeing. And guys, again, as always, in the room and on YouTube, let me know if there's something else you think we should take a peek at. Boeing, I mean, it's just been moving constantly all this week, especially with this massive recovery. You know, I can't help having a little bit of FOMO in my longer term account saying, yeah, when it broke below 100, should have bought some. But anyways, hindsight is always 20/20, isn't it? At the time, we were thinking, I mean, look at this. I'd set a level at $77. So I was thinking it might go down to there. So in any event, here we are at 175-ish. And it's getting volume pre-market. I took 2 trades on it yesterday, and I think I ended up probably losing a little bit of money because it was chopping around. I found it tough to trade. Big spread. Did not have fun trading Boeing yesterday. All right, that's all I've got. Norm, anything else that maybe I've just blithely jumped over on the list or you think I should take a peek at?
No, Lulu. I've got Lulu on watch. They announced earnings last night. I believe it was when you guys were actually doing the close show yesterday.
Yep.
And you might be able to give some. Considering it's a Canadian company, I should probably pass the mic to you on how to report that one. But I know they pulled guidance, and they're down a little bit this morning. Their volume stinks, but Lulu usually doesn't have very good volume in the pre-market, so it's not surprising.
Yeah, Lulu is actually a fairly hard stock to trade in my experience and watching it. It does get volume on days where it's got specific news, but I've always struggled to trade it effectively. They did beat their estimates for the quarter, but as you said, they pulled their forecast, which seems to overwhelm the news. GME on the other time, GameStop sort of had mixed. I think they beat bottom line, but they missed on revenue top line, but not by much. But also pulled their forecast. However, they're pointing up this morning. I presume people think that because they were saying that they were getting more online shopping, that's going to potentially give them an opportunity to retool against that online gaming industry. So we'll see. In the room, people are talking about Lulu. Yeah, we already talked about Guild. Somebody mentioned Guild. Gilead. I haven't looked at them in a few days. Let's see what Guild is doing. From a daily, it's sort of just been chopping around. It's been interesting during the whole decline. Look at their daily chart, right? They've really been holding this level, largely because they've been involved in the coronavirus activities with potential of some of their drugs potentially having impact. I don't know if that's actually been demonstrated to be the case yet or not. However, their pre-market doesn't look great, so that's not fantastic. What else? Bud, somebody's recommending. And YouTube, we've already looked at. ASTC, I think we looked at off the top. Yep, it's already on my list. The cruise lines. And somebody's mentioning Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic. Yeah, pre-market doesn't look good, guys. It's moving sideways here in this market. Again, unless there's some specific catalyst, I would just leave it up to my scanners to pop it up if warranted. All right, with that, guys, why don't we take a look at the announcements? Then we'll go back and set some levels. Norm, over to you.
Hey guys, the Ed Martin After Hours Earnings webinar should be up in the Education Center. If you have any issues, let us know. Next week, we've got Stephen Goldstein. I'll be moderating that. It will be on Wednesday at 6 p.m. since he is in London. Looking forward to it. He'll be talking about trading in this volatile environment. And then the week after that's Peter. He's going to talk about his lightning bolt pattern strategy. And then after that, on the 15th, we've got Brian Shannon talking about anchored VWAP and short-term trading as we do. If you'd like, we still got the promo code working for the St. Patrick's Day discount. You can get 40% off a lifetime discount on the one payment option. Use the promo code St. Patrick's checkout for either the version with or without 3 months of DAS Simulator. Peter and Brian, once again, doing today's closing bell show at 3:30 to 4:15 Eastern, YouTube Live. If you're in the room, if you're a member, you don't need to go to YouTube. It's nothing different, and it's just going to be simulcasting the room over there. 1 week, if you're watching us on YouTube, have not been in the chat room, would like to give it a try, you can do so at a discount. Use the promo code premarket24 when you check out for the intro membership. Doesn't auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership after the week is over. Oh, I wanted to say one other thing quickly while we're here. I tweeted something last night. I was rehashing my trading day, and I kind of had a bit of an epiphany on something. And I just mentioned that I grew as a trader yesterday. We're asked all the time, how long did it take you to become consistently profitable? It's a term I personally hate, because even if I spend 10 years and make money every day for 10 years, that doesn't mean I'm going to tomorrow. I personally believe it's a journey and it's not a destination. So I didn't disclose what that was, and I'm not going to, because it would underwhelm everybody here. We all have our own weaknesses. We all have our own, and it's no secret sauce. I'm not holding back anything that's going to help anybody else. My only point in saying this is, you never know when it's going to happen. I didn't intend to focus on this thing yesterday. It just kind of happened and clicked, and something went in my mind yesterday. So it's something I've not struggled with, but just part of my trading for a long time, and I kind of feel like I grew from it. So anyway, focus on doing your best trading every single day. It's the process. It's not a destination.
Well said, Norm, and wholeheartedly agree. I've certainly been through these cycles where it's going fantastic. You think you've got this thing licked, and then you get knocked back, right? So as you say, what does consistently profitable mean? I mean, that's different for everybody. So
yeah, and just like you said, there are always times in this when you take a big step backward too. So you gotta realize that both ways. Anyway, back to you, man.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks. All right, so let's set some levels. I'll start at the top of my list. We don't have all that many. We can get through this. ASTC. I'm just looking back in time here, back at beginning of 2019. There's a good level right here at 546 or so. All set. I also like the peak of this candle up here, high of 815 if it actually gets there. I don't know whether that'll be the case. If I look back, the high from 2 days ago was already set, and this shows you just how risky and volatile this stock could be. It had a high of 775 just 2 days ago. I mean, then yesterday it basically was, ranged between 288 and 370, and today, already this morning, it's between $3 and almost $6. So that doesn't really endear itself to me, but if you're interested in trading it, just be careful. So there's ASTC with a couple of levels. Tilray, as I mentioned, I'm not terribly excited about it. If I look, it's sort of been following the general market. There is a potential level right here where it found some support at the beginning of this year. If it gets above that, then presumably where it found support right there, so around $15 and then $15.75. $15.65 I will actually put this level at, just so I get it at the right space. Maybe. But put one last marker here at the low of this one, 1320, guys. But frankly, none of these are fantastic levels because it's not like we have multiple points bouncing off of them. It's really just one or two in each case. So Tilray will sort of have to take the price action if you're looking at it as it comes. I said usually if I'm watching a pot stock, I would move to CGC, but there's Tilray. SmileDirectClub, like we said, is seeing some action this morning. Yesterday, it actually hit a high of $6.86, so we got that marker. I can see that's just below where it consolidated after the gap down here, so that's a good level. In fact, I'm going to reinforce that level by putting one just above it where the bottom of these candles are at 702. So I'm actually going to put that at $7 even, just to remind myself there is a secondary level there. And then I always like to mark the top of the gaps, which in this case, if I can get it, $8.60. So I'll leave my marker at 857. So that would be the two levels I have for SDC. On the downside, I've got, the previous day's lows, which are marking it out nicely for me. CCL, well, I already have some levels set to the downside of Carnival Cruise Lines. 1450 and 1160 are set there. Right at the very low of this whole pattern is $7.90. I'll just put something there to remind myself of that. Probably not going that low today, but you never know. Remember, as I'm looking at CCL, you can set levels on Royal Caribbean, RCL, and then Norwegian Cruise Lines as well in the same fashion. Uber, as Norm pointed out, right? They're getting a boost maybe because of their delivery service, but it isn't the best part of their services. So I will set something to the upside, even though Uber is gapping down. I just see the bottom of this candle at low of 30.67. This one is the low of 30.45. So I'll put that one at the 30.45. And then to the downside, I've got a couple of previous day levels marked. The only other thing that I would mark out of this is I see that a number of days sort of bounced right off of this 22. I'll put it at 2260. It's more of a general range here, but 2260 for that level if this thing really starts to drop. MGM, well, because we've been looking at it all week, we already have some levels set. So $11 to the downside, $14.11 to the upside, and $17.77 further up. That's probably, I'll just leave those. That's all I need. Tesla, again, we've looked at it before. I do like this level at 604, but it is down so far this morning. So I will set one here at the bottom of this candle, which is at 474. Boy, big range here. I just had to remind myself how big of a range Tesla can have. I don't know what to expect out of it, whether we're going to get a lot of movement. Pre-market, it's been pretty choppy here. It looked really early this here, and then it was dropping. It looked like it was going to drop off, and then it sort of stabilized. So we may see Tesla just chop today, and I'll mention that in a second. Anyways, Boeing. I already have some levels set because another one that we've been looking at all week. As I mentioned, a very low. I was expecting a low of 77, which came from a number of years ago. The low of what it actually hit over this period was 89. It looks like even. So I will set a level at 89. However, Boeing has been on its way up, which means I need top side levels 187 to 78. I've already got set. And I'll put another one right here, although it's not super strong, but right there, 226 basically, right in that zone in case it really starts to take off today. All right, getting close to the end here. My two earnings plays from last night. Lululemon. Which, if it decides to go up, I'll just mark this gap here at 212. Where's the low here? 212.23. 212.23. And then I'll put another one. What is the high of this candle here? 208.33. Yeah, we'll put one there at 208.33. Whoops. Gotta get it right or it goes in the wrong place. There we go. So if it goes to the top side, there's those levels. If it goes to the downside, we've got some previous days marked. Again, we've got another gap that happened here. You notice that this gap's quite a bit. That's usually a warning sign for me. When something's gapping day after day, it tells me it doesn't trade that smoothly, so you got to be careful. I can see this is really 180.33. Where did this day spike? 182. 180.35. So I'm going to put this up a little higher at 180.50 if that level comes into play, because it sort of cuts across the middle of those. All right, last but not least, GameStop. Again, really choppy action, but we're up above that. So, maybe, if the general sentiment is positive, this thing may go up. I'm going to set a level up here roughly at the $5.18 mark. That's exactly where the low of this candle is, and it cuts across what was support before it dropped it. Today it did spike as high as 530, so it could go higher. If it does go higher, there's potential level of resistance here. You can see it bounced off the 580 level back in October of last year, as well as right here in January. So we'll see what happens with GameStop. I was going to mention it is a Friday. It is a Friday at the start of earnings season, but it's one of those Fridays where I don't know why, but I've got the feeling that we may get one of these sort of resting days where the market doesn't do a lot, moves sideways. I mean, we've been seeing very high volume, so you can expect high volume to occur. So that may just happen, but just be careful. It could be very choppy today. If you catch a move, go with it, but don't force any trades. You can see our gappers list is pretty big this morning. It fills my entire screen. I can't even quite fit it on the screen here. So there you go. I'll just give you one last peek at it. Norm, thanks for joining me all week, guys. Carlos will, fortunately for all of us, be back on Monday. He's had a week off. He was planning to take some vacation time and travel with the family. Obviously, the travel plans were off, but I was happy he still took the time off. And with his young son and his family and his daughter, they're all, I don't know what they're doing, but I know they're having fun from some of the stuff he posted on Twitter. As Norm said earlier, it's always worth following us on Twitter. There's always neat stuff. You want to see an absolutely adorable baby, take a look at Carlos's feed. So,
Yep. And Peter, thank you for filling in for the last 4 days. Everybody, if you could give him a round of applause. Not an easy feat, especially when you don't do it all the time. So thank you very much, Peter.
No problem. My pleasure. So thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good, safe trading day. Don't forget, social distancing is key for us to help stop the spread of this virus and hopefully get the world back to more of a normal keel as soon as possible. I mean, some of that's going to depend on actually finding cure. And we have to remember, everything we're doing is just managing the outbreak such that we minimize the number of people that are infected, but we have not figured out how to cure this thing yet. So we're just managing it. So take care, be safe, spend time with your family, call those whom you're not in contact with, make sure your family, friends, and neighbors are all safe and doing their part as well. Safe trading, and we'll talk to you later today.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching today Tesla, Boeing, Zoom, Beyond, Lulu, SDC, and GameStop. I might add to that. I might take away. I'm not super impressed with this list overall this morning. We'll see if anything else changes here.
Yeah, I agree with that, Norm. I'm looking at my list, and it's not that exciting either when I look at the stuff I've got. I think that from my side, I'm going to have to see what comes up. CCL's been a mover, but it's been erratic. I think I liked Uber the last couple of days, so I'll take a look at Uber. I'll keep an eye on Lulu and GameStop just because they did have the earnings and are up here. But other than that, we'll see probably what our scanners brings up, and we'll see what the open brings. So take care, everyone. Have a great trading day. As I said, we'll talk to you later.